Tell me a little bit about art school and, where you went, what was it like?
It was just the best thing. I haven't got the...
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, no,
so many people
it.
I speak to are just like, I wish I never went to art school.
Oh, no,
I know.
No. Well, I think maybe it's a certain age group because I'm now in my mid-50s. So you're in a London art school, you're with these incredible people in the same age group, and you're allowed to just do anything. The Middlesex Polytechnic Fine Art Department, there'll be people doing performances, sniffing glue, writhing naked in a bundle of twigs, and we're just looking at it earnestly thinking, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
But where else would you see that?
Of course.
And then you had the Life Room where people were doing that. But then you had a group of people that were obviously influenced by what was happening with the shows curated by Damien Hirst. So it was kind of on the beginning of something really new and exciting.
Yeah. I mean, tell me a little bit about how you feel, I guess, London or maybe the UK scene in general has changed since then.
Well, it's changed a lot, largely due to the internet and largely due to the grants being phased out and tuition fees, because I was very lucky enough to have an art education for free. And so the art education was like a social education. So there were kids, there were privately educated kids with council estate kids and overseas students. And so we were all mixing. And I learned so much from my friends, not just from tutors, but from my friends that came from very different backgrounds. And that was the best thing, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that kind of like peer-to-peer.
Yeah, it was extremely political because you're having so many different experiences. Art school was a place of becoming. So we had the identity politics thing wasn't so much like, there were loads of people, like you'd see these people coming in with long hair and flowing dresses, and the next day they'd have shaven heads and DMs and ripped jeans. And so people had shed their kind of provincial idea of what London is, and then suddenly just becoming something quite confrontational. And the campus was an old factory, so the acoustics of that space was quite brutalistic and very brittle, and tutorials, you could eavesdrop on everyone, so we were all forced to talk. And the Royal College was very different, of course, but still great.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of politics, you were well into politics back in the day, weren't you?
Well, our union rep at Middlesex was involved with ACT UP, the City of London anti-apartheid movement that had a picket outside the South African embassy. So he was kind of drawing us in. And at the time, there were a lot of issues happening, like the poll tax and the criminal justice bill and racist murders. So a group of us did get involved with that. Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous. No, so we were also talking about how it's different now, this idea of like the interaction of politics and art is very like...
Well, I mean, you could be at home just kind of vlogging, blogging, whatever, and, I'm outraged at this and this and this and this. Whereas I think back then you had to have a responsibility, because if you were giving out leaflets or selling newspapers, you had to own what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people would not just come up and just buy your paper, they'd either punch you in the face or they would say, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And then you'd have to sort of...
defend your position, absolutely.
Defend your position. And it could be quite brutal, but it kind of gave you a thicker skin, So whereas these days, if you do post something, and it's just a different time. And I don't want this to be like a middle-aged guy moans about the good old days, because it was a tough time too.
Of course, no.